Then one day I just straight up go up to one of the elders, who happens to be the father of the boy from the previous story, the boy who fucked the girl in the Spanish congregation. His dad then becomes the elder that replaces my dad. Isn't that fucked? So the catalyst for my dad stepping down as an elder was this fucking piece of shit lying kid who got this girl thrown out of her fucking religion. That kid's father replaces my dad as an elder.
Lucius Malfoy takes over as headmaster of Hogwarts.
Yeah. I go right up to that dude and I say, "Can I talk to you, please, after the meeting?" He says, "Yeah, sure." And he takes me in the back room and I go, "I'm not a virgin. I had sex with my worldly girlfriend." He says, "You have a worldly girlfriend?" I said, "Yes." He says, "Okay, we're going to have to put together a judicial hearing about that." Trying to, in the spirit of brevity, get through this story as fast as possible.
No. I'll split it into 2 parts. We can take as long as we want.
Excellent.
They don't have 2 weeks.
That's awesome. That's really good. So he sets up a judicial hearing. The 2 elders that are heading this are him, this guy who's been a family friend for a very long time, the guy who replaced my dad, the guy with the piece of shit son, and a new elder who transferred in from a fucking different congregation that I met maybe a month ago. You know? I get in the room with them and they start, and at this point I had been indulging in what they would call apostate literature and apostate media. It's basically fellow ex-Jehovah's Witnesses that make content on YouTube. I still watch this shit to this day, but because they were so helpful and instrumental in my waking up process. Lloyd Evans is a great one to look up. He has a John Cedars channel, which is really brilliant. But a lot of what they had said really opened my eyes to some of the cult-like mentality and some of the very, very worldly influences, what they would consider worldly influences on their doctrine. Shit that's like, they think there's something so other than the world. They think they're apart from any other religion. They homogenize every faith and ideas and ideologies outside of theirs because there's something different. They're divinely inspired. It's the world and Jehovah's Witnesses. And then the apostate content really showed me a lot of primarily like how their shit was influenced by the culture and how their shit and their doctrine was influenced by obviously pre-existing religions, you know, and biblical movements that were going on around the early 1900s. But one thing that I had learned from the apostates was some of the sexual questions that they ask minors in judicial hearings. And I always had a lot of skepticism, even at that point being mentally out, you know, of the religion.
Well, also, again, the first fucking thing that you had to give. Is that where we're at?
Oh, yeah, Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. So like,
okay, that's
yeah.
where
So
we're going.
through
Okay,
the
I'm just making
apostate
sure,
shit, yeah. So the apostate shit, they had always warned and like talked about the sexual shit that they asked minors in judicial hearings, and that part of what the apostates talked about, I always was skeptical about because I was like, okay, well, first of all, I have the predisposed like thing in my brain that they put me about apostates are evil. Apostates are the mouthpiece of Satan. They're literally the anti of the one true religion on earth, so they're evil. So there's a little bit of that going into it. You know, trying to absorb it, but I still have this tainted view of it and this fear, you know? But then I was also like, okay, well, these are obviously enemies of the church, rightfully so, but they are not, like, they could be lying about or exaggerating about some shit. They weren't. Because when I got into that room with these 2 older white men and just me, a 16-year-old, and my parents, they asked me, among other things, and it didn't just like open up like this, but among other things, they asked me these questions verbatim. How many times did you have sex? And I said, I don't know. I can't fucking count. And they said, who involved had an orgasm? You know, was it you only? Was it the girl only? Was it both of you? And I said, I'm not answering that. And they said, what positions? I'm 16. You know?
And yeah, anything but missionary is.
And my dad is like looking upset.
He's sitting with you.
Yeah, he's sitting with me and he's just like, what the fuck? At this point, I think some wheels started turning in his brain about
He's like, I have to sit here and listen to my son
like
at the time. Like,
yeah. talk about shit like this. And so I could see it in my dad's eyes that he was like, this is fucked. Like, this is kind of the shit that my kid was talking about. You know?
messes you up.
Yeah, and so I said, like, I'm not answering a single any more question. I said to them, I'm not answering anything else. I don't believe that this is the truth. It doesn't make sense to me. And they were like, okay, well, we can sit down and unpack that. If you're coming from a point of you're having doubts, that's why you acted out this way. We could fix your doubts and we can punish you a different way.
Oh, but the girl who came forward to repent gets kicked out.
Right. Because she's a fucking girl.
Yeah.
You know? And then it's like, gotcha, bitch. I am too. You know?